Well, today we've got a basic 32 Ford Roadster here, and I say basic because the owner is a bass player. You might be familiar with Michael Anthony. He was a bass player for Van Halen. Well, he brought his hot rod in. Now, this used to belong to Dick Brogdon, who was the manager at Hot Rods by Boyd when I was there, and pretty much everybody else that worked with Boyd. But Dick sold it to Michael Anthony, and Michael has brought it in because we did a little bit of work on the engine, and he wants to add some mirrors to it. So I'm gonna do a little sketch right now, and then out of a piece of foam, I'm gonna shape a mirror stem that'll end up bolting to the door. So let me go grab some paper and pen. I'm gonna do a quick sketch, and then I'll shape one out of foam. We'll end up scanning that and then machining it, building it out of aluminum. We'll get that and the mirrors chromed, bolt them to the doors. Michael can come get his car, but right now, we gotta figure out exactly what we're gonna build. What I'm thinking I want to do is take the shape of the windshield post and duplicate that in a smaller version. We can make that one piece, it'll be left and right, and then Michael says he wants an oval mirror on the stem, but I think we can make this shape our stem itself and end up with something. The reason I'm looking at the shape of this windshield post and think I can make that same shape here is I want it to look like the same designer that did this post made the mirror stem. You know, I can make a different shape that doesn't relate to this, and then it looks like two different people did it. So the funny thing is I did this windshield post back in the 80s for another hot rod, and when Dick Brogdon and I were both at Boyd's, he had seen a pair of these that I had put on a car, and he says, "Where'd you get those?" And I said, "Well, I just happened to have another set, so I gave him these." So since I was a designer on that, looks like I'm the designer on the mirror post. But if I hadn't done this, that's the same way I would think and the way that I would design that. I would look for something on the car that can become that. And you know, because they're both right next to each other, I want them to relate to each other. Basically, those two shapes will be the same. But what I'm going to do now is look at where I want that. It needs to be about that big. So now I'll take those two line drawings right there, and I'm gonna go cut a piece out of foam. And let me go ahead and do this also. I'm gonna use that same mirror. All right, let's go make a piece. What I'm doing right now is I'm just going to call it sketch modeling. I'm going to shape a piece out of foam. I want to look at it on the car and see if I like it. Once I know I like it, then we can scan that or just take a couple dimensions, draw it in the computer, and cut them on a CNC machine. What I'm doing now is I'm just roughing out an oval mirror, the shape of a mirror, because all I'm doing is, like I say, I'm calling this a sketch model, I'm just roughly sketching out the shape in a piece of foam. I can look at it and decide whether I like it or not. If I don't like it, I'll come up with something different, or I'll reshape it until it's something I like. But I'm just roughly getting an idea of what the mirror should be, and then I'll rough that stem out, and then I'll just take a piece of wire and I'll cut it, and I'll hold this mirror on that stem. All I'm doing is I'm using the sandpaper to take away everything that doesn't look like what I want it to look like. Had that little radius at the bottom, so I got to get that radius there and then sand away what is unnecessary here. This will all be round here. Let me get it thin like I need it. Now I don't draw on a computer and I don't have a CNC machine, so I just rough things out, get an idea of what I want. And then if you're an overhauling fan and you remember Mike Curtis, who worked on the show, I will call Mike Curtis. He has all the tools that he needs to make this. We'll scan it, he can draw it, and he's got the machines that'll cut it. This is really close to what I'm thinking that shape would be, but the top of that door is not flat. It has a real tight radius, so I'll just use the sandpaper here. I'll create that radius, cut this hollow underneath here. Now when I'm totally done and I have the aluminum pieces, I'll actually put a piece of adhesive back sandpaper on the top of that door, and I'll run this back and forth until it fits exactly right where I want it, and then drill the holes and put the studs in and put the nuts from inside the door to hold it. But for right now, we're just going to create that hollow shape so it fits on the door. All right, I've got the two pieces. That's about the shape that I want. Now I just need to take a wire. Just as a mock-up piece. Let's go look at what it looks like on the car. So that's it. This shape resembles that shape. That mirror is, I'm just going to use a set of mirrors like this, but I'm probably going to radius the back side of that before we chrome them, but that's what it is. I'll be happy with that. So the shape is basically the same shape. Now all I got to do is call Mike Curtis, have him come over. He can scan these pieces and make them real. Mike Curtis! He'll be here in a minute.